Can't hear that police car siren. Hello, I'm Roger Bisbee from Skill Builder, and I'm back with another impact driver test. In fact, actually I'm not. This is an impact wrench. And impact wrenches differ from impact drivers in as much as they've got a square drive on them. And Metabo have sent this in. Now, they sent this in as part of our overall look at impact drivers, our head-to-head, if you like, on impact drivers. But they said that they didn't have anything that was really high torque in that impact driver range, and that what they'd rather do is send us this monster. Now, this is a 400 Newton meter impact driver, so it's going to knock the socks off all the other ones and blow them out the water. A lot more powerful. A lot of people won't need this. Scaffolders need it, people like that, mechanics and so on. If you're in the mechanical engineering side of things, you might want it. But if you're just trying to put screws in, this is really overkill. But the good news is that they also do an adapter. Now, this adapter goes on the end of the 1/2 inch wrench, and that will give us a 1/4 inch socket for a hex bit. So we can use ordinary screwdriver bits in there, well, impact driver bits in there, as well as using it here. Now, what they also sent us in, almost to emphasize the point, is a nice little socket set that Metabo do. Now, when you see these black ones as opposed to the chrome ones, it's usually an indication that they're suitable for impact wrenches. So all these are, if you like, a higher quality than your ordinary socket sets. If you use your ordinary socket sets, you sometimes find that the impact wrench will start to chew them to bits. So it's important, if you're using an impact wrench, that you use good impact sockets. Now, you can also get these longer. So the scaffolders, they use a very deep socket because obviously they're running a long way up the thread. But that's something you can pick up. You don't need to use Metabo. You can use any other make, so long as they're suitable for that job. So the LTX 18 volt, it did very well in our head-to-head on 18 volt drills. When we used the LTX, it performed surprisingly well, I'd say. So we've got a choice of a 3.5 amp hour battery, as with this kit, or we can go for the larger 5.5 amp hour battery. Obviously going to give you more run time. So if you're a scaffolder and you're up there doing those jobs, you may want to look at that. Now, here down at the bottom, we've got our speed adjustment. It's a bit of a different speed adjustment to a lot, in as much as it's a mechanical, what we might call an analog speed adjustment, as opposed to a digital one, if you like. But you can see that you could just basically adjust this yourself. So unlike the other impact drivers that we looked at, which have got 3 different settings to press, you just simply do this. If you want a nice slow soft start on it, just go to there. So if you were using something like the 1/4 inch hex socket in here, then you would set it on a low speed. You definitely wouldn't want 400 Newton meters to drive in those screws. But if you're using heavy bolts, you want to drive those in, maybe you're putting them into brickwork and that kind of thing, then obviously you can dial that up to the top, which is 400 Newton meters. So we're going to give this a go, take it out on site, see what we think of it. Okay, so we've had the Metabo out on test, and it is a wrench, not a impact driver as such, so it was always bound to be not quite as good at one set of things. It's certainly got high torque, so if you're doing things like doing up nuts and that, I would suggest this is ideally suited to that. When you put the adapter on and you start using it as a screwdriver, it lacks a little bit of finesse. It doesn't have quite the same control. You've only got this dial to speed up, so you can go slowly or you can go fast, but what you don't have is that ability to go fast and then slow, as with some of the other machines which have got the tech drive. So for things like driving screws in, self-tapping screws in, forget it. It's not the machine to do that. You can use it as a screwdriver, so if you want to buy one of these to do the heavy duty jobs but you occasionally need it as a screwdriver, it will do the job, whereas the other machines won't do the job in the other way. In other words, they're good screwdrivers, but if you come to really high torque things where you need that 400 Newton meters, they're not going to be up to it. What I don't like about this, oddly enough, is the body. It just felt as if it was going to come apart there. Now that could be a question of just doing these screws up here and pinching the case up a bit, but it could probably do with another screw in the back there just to hold that back closed, because as you're using it with the vibration, you find it just feels not exactly pinchy, but you can feel that join and you can feel it moving slightly on your hands. So maybe they either want to wrap that rubber around a bit better or put another screw in there to hold it. But for me, it just made it slightly uncomfortable to use when you're doing those big jobs. If you're wearing a glove, of course, not a problem at all. So some people would say that's what I should be doing. But all in all, good machines, Metabos. We like them. And as I say, they've done well in the drill test. So who's to say this one won't do just as well as an impact driver? That brushless motor obviously brings something to the party, and it means it's going to last a lot longer than a brush motor anyway. So if you're running Metabo 18 volt, then this makes a sensible option for you to purchase. I'm Roger Bisbee. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you found that interesting and useful. And if you want to see more of our impact driver tests, don't forget to come back to Skill Builder. Subscribe, because that way you keep up to date with everything we've got going on Skill Builder. And we are looking this year to load more and more useful videos on and hopefully grow the channel exponentially. That's a big word, isn't it?